Wasabi wallet. Unfairly private.
What's up, everyone? Ben with the BTC Sessions here, and this is your daily session.
HODL that Bitcoin.
Before we dive in, of course, shout out to sponsors of the show, Ledn.io. This is where you can use your Bitcoin for a few different services, one of which is a Bitcoin savings account, so you can stack sats on top of your sats using their account there. You get a rate of 3.6% currently. You can also apply for a Bitcoin-backed loan. That's where you use your Bitcoin as collateral to secure a Canadian or US dollar loan. So if you need dollars, but you don't want to spend Bitcoin because you don't want to miss a potential price increase, you can utilize that. Or you can go super long Bitcoin and use their B2X new product. This is where essentially you can double your exposure to Bitcoin through their platform. So you can check any of those out using the link down below. And actually, if you opt to get a loan, they'll credit your account with an additional $50 worth of Bitcoin. So be sure to check that out. And secondly, if you're into Bitcoin, then of course, privacy is important. And one of the things I regularly use is called NordVPN. So what this does is it hides your IP address, it encrypts your browsing data, and it has a few other added benefits like unlocking geo-block content. So if you want to check that out, there's a link down below and you can get the service for about $3 a month. So not bad. With that, let's dive into today's news. Now, it is officially the 11th birthday of the Bitcoin Whitepaper. Yes, that does indeed fall on Halloween every year, so double the fun for the day. So a few quick things about kind of the growth of Bitcoin over the past 11 years. Of course, Bitcoin didn't officially launch until January 3rd of 2009, but the white paper was released on this day. So since its creation, the Bitcoin all-time appreciation and price has been well over 30 million%. Yes, million with an M, 30 million%. The first reported value of Bitcoin kind of recorded was in March 17th of 2010, and it was around a third of a penny. So pretty wild. And today, what we're up in the $9,300 range last I checked. Yeah, so 85% of Bitcoin supply in circulation has already been mined. About 3, and this is as of August, so more than that. There's about 3 million Bitcoin left to be mined. Already 18 million have been mined so far. What else? Since the Genesis block in January 2009, miners' revenues have been about $15 billion, and $1 billion of that has just been from transaction fees. Consistently setting new records all around for Bitcoin. So fantastic 11 years. I look forward to the next 11. Let's move on. Bitcoin 2020 conference. I was at Bitcoin 2019 this year, which was fantastic. Awesome event. Lots of great speakers, lots of great people to chat to. I can't wait to hit up Bitcoin 2020. They just recently announced that Tony Hawk will be speaking at the conference. If you're wondering why Tony Hawk, of course he was a skateboarding legend, but why would he be at a Bitcoin conference? It actually stems back from this article back in July, about 4 months ago, and just this tweet. Somebody tweeted out, "Hey Tony Hawk, how much fun would it be to ride this beauty?" And he was posting a chart of Bitcoin's rise over the past month and a half at that point, 2 months, and he replied back, he's been riding it for 6 years, haven't bailed yet. So Tony Hawk is an early Bitcoin hodler. So 2013 around was when he started dabbling, it sounds like. So impressive. He's been doing it for a while. So I look forward to seeing what he has to say at the Bitcoin 2020 conference. And of course, they did announce a little while back that Nick Szabo, or Szabo, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce. Anyways, incredible cryptographer and computer scientist. He will be speaking there, and he does not do a lot of public speaking, so really cool to see him sign up to be there. So very excited for that. Hope to see you there. Let's move on. In Canada here, where I live, there's going to be a Bitcoin fund on a major stock exchange listed. This was just announced the other day. So 3iQ has received initial approval on its long road to launch a closed-end Bitcoin fund on the Ontario Stock Exchange later this quarter. So I guess within the next 3 months. Crazy. So they've addressed the questions of pricing, custody, audit, public interest issues, and in a regulated investment fund. So essentially the custody is going to be handled by Gemini Trust. New York based, that's the Winklevoss twins there. They've partnered with Van Eck to develop a benchmark for the index, and so looks like. And I should point out, this is not for accredited investors. This is retail investment. This opens up the ability for people to have potentially Bitcoin allocations and things like their retirement funds, or just direct access to this for regular retail investors that may not want to personally take on holding Bitcoin themselves, but would like some exposure to this. Now, things I'm hoping for are, one is real-time auditability of this. Rehypothecation is something that I worry about, where a fund can essentially give out more shares of the allocated Bitcoin that they have than they actually have. And that's something that we will have to grapple with in the future as these funds come out and start to proliferate, because they will, and it will happen. Now, the thing that I am confident about in the long term is that rehypothecation in this sense has a very, very real consequence if it gets out of hand, because there is no lender of last resort. In this instance, there's only so much Bitcoin, and if you don't have it, there's nobody to turn to. It's just not there. There is no central bank to bail you out. My inclination is to believe that down the line, not necessarily this fund, but some funds will get out of hand, they will get pinched, and they're going to screw themselves in the end, because, as I said, no lender of last resort when it comes to Bitcoin. So is this like a Trojan horse down the line that really flips the known financial markets as we know them on their heads? Possibly. I guess we'll have to see there. But either way, I see this in general as a positive aspect. Of course, I myself lean towards holding Bitcoin myself, being in control of my own private keys. If I opt to do something with my Bitcoin outside of that, it's usually a small percentage. But I'm not really big on speculating with my Bitcoin on other things. And I'm not really big on leaving large portions of my Bitcoin in the custody of others. I only have ever really, I've used obviously Ledn for a loan, but a small portion of my Bitcoin go to that. It's not, I'm not leaving custody by and large to other people. So anyways, let's move on here. And one last thing I wanted to touch on. Yesterday we were talking about China's SuperPro Blockchain sudden, I guess, 180. And it's not exactly a 180. It's more of a blockchain, not Bitcoin sentiment, which is not super surprising. They're trying to take the reins themselves, create their own central bank-backed digital currency. And I was talking about it yesterday in a light of, I don't think this is a positive thing necessarily for people in China. China is very authoritarian. They're doing things like a social credit score, where if you're a dissenter, then you can be cut off financially and even restricted when it comes to stuff like travel. And having a central bank digital currency is something that could give them even more power in that aspect. And this article from CoinDesk further points out that they've interviewed a Bitcoin dissident that pretty much echoes those sentiments. So they talk about pro-blockchain announcements that are scaring the crap out of this person. The person is talking about how they've been able to craft a narrative in China where surveillance and this kind of Big Brother mentality is actually looked upon by many Chinese citizens as a good thing, because that's the way it's been crafted in the media. They're kind of like the parents. They protect everybody, and it's only the bad people that are subject to these Orwellian kind of future. Yeah, and he also talks about his family, how his family were religious, and they essentially had their WeChat and Alipay cut off at one point because of their religious beliefs and their kind of missionary work that they were doing there. And so they were able to be silenced in that way. And now a lot of his parents' assets are in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency, because it's just a way for them to, insulate themselves from more potential economic recourse from the Chinese government. So I will link to that below. Of course, check out yesterday's video if you want to see a little bit further into my thoughts on that. And short one today, guys. Again, happy Bitcoin white paper birthday to all of you. Again, I'm super happy to be back, so I will be joining you again for another video tomorrow. So you guys, if you're new here or if you've been around for a while, like, subscribe, share. Of course, always share. Good to get more people watching. If you want to support the show, you can hit up the sponsors down below, Ledn and Nord. Those links are in the show notes. Also, check out Wasabi Wallet. Privacy is important, and it's good to cut those links between your Bitcoin and yourself so that you maintain financial privacy to anybody that likes to peer into that kind of stuff. And of course, if you want to hit me up because you really liked what you saw, you can drop me a tip via the Lightning Network at my tippin.me page. With that, I'm out. I will see you guys tomorrow for your daily session.